Welcome to Life Her Podcast, the podcast that guides you from the 9-to-5 grind to the freedom of your own path. Discover how to conquer life's challenges while pursuing your passions with unwavering faith. Because being an entrepreneur is not easy. So let's get to it.
Hey everyone, welcome to Life Her Podcast. I'm Yvette Lloyd. I'm your host, and I would like to welcome you an incredible guest, Anmol Singh. He's an entrepreneur, investor, and one of the leading experts in trading psychology. He's the founder of LiveTraders, where he has trained thousands of traders and investors, many of whom go on to the run into their own hedge fund. Beyond the stock market, Amal is also an angel investor and franchise owner, and also an author of preparing for the success and 10 keys of making it in life. He is here to share his incredible insights on business, mindset, success, and psychology behind the high stakes of decision making. And let's dive in. Hey, Amal, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So,
Awesome.
how are things going for you?
Things are good. Markets are, getting really interesting. We got a lot going on in the world, and because of that, we got the crypto market, the stock market. So it's a very active time in any
Yeah.
beginning of a new administration. So yeah, things are looking good. A lot of action to expect rest of the year.
Yes, a whole lot of action. So, tell me, what inspired you to launch LiveTraders, and how did you establish yourself in the trading education space?
Yeah, definitely. Because when I started in trading 15 years ago, one of the things was you'd see like advertising online. Everybody talks about how much money they're making, or all the great trades that they've done. But what I noticed was like a lot of people in the industry were like, like, not to put anybody down, but they were marketers more than traders, right? So they would create these great things that make you want to click on it, turn 5,000 into this, or buy this next thing. And so a lot of people get caught up in that. And so did I in my first year, wanting to take courses or try it from all these people. But then you quickly realize that a lot of people are either regurgitating and trading the same stuff that they probably read, or they were really good at marketing, but they weren't actually trading. So that's kind of what made me start LiveTraders. As the name says, LiveTraders, we trade live every single day. So every day since we started LiveTraders in 2015, I've been live streaming myself every single day from morning until I'm done trading. So people get to see it real time, like they're almost like they're sitting next to me. And I think that's the best way to learn, because anybody can talk about the winning trades, but what happens when you lose? Nobody talks about that, right? So with when you're watching me do it, not only sure you watch me win, but you also watch me lose sometimes. I think that's where the learning takes place. How do you handle yourself when you're losing, right? The emotional control, the discipline, and the ability to just move on to the next one, right? And keep doing that. So that's why we started LiveTraders, as a way to shorten the learning curve for a lot of people and show them the reality of how trading actually works, as opposed to, what people do online with selling courses and all of those things.
Man, that is like super dope. And usually, when you're trading live, do people utilize it? I'm just now learning a lot of this. Is that like similar to like mirror trading, when people mirror some of the things that you do?
So some people, sure, some people absolutely do that, but that's not really my goal with this. My goal is for them to see everything that I've taught them, maybe in the courses, but then watch me use the same exact strategy that I taught you in the seminar, and now I'm actually using it live. So because it's very different to like learn trading off a course or these perfect, charts or the slides, but when the market's open, doesn't think things don't look as textbook as what you see on a course. So
Yeah.
that's kind of why I started it. So you can not only see me do that, but then, sure, a lot of people follow it. There's a lot of people that just follow the trades, although I don't recommend that. I always tell people to try to learn or reverse engineer, try to see what I'm doing, and then implement it and make it your own, right? And then
Mhm.
some people use it as an idea generation tool. So they've already gone through the courses, they're already trading themselves. They just use me as ideas. If I found something, hey, look at this stock, and then I'm doing a lot of the work for them. So I think that's why a lot of people use it too. But then the advanced traders who already know what they're doing, they've already gone through the programs, been doing it for a while. For them, it's just the camaraderie, right, of being around traders, being in that energy, because trading is a very lonely business otherwise, right? I mean, there's no entrepreneur, there's no colleagues, there's no like teammates, there's no
Yeah.
employees or people that you have. So it's kind of boring if you're just trading on your computer by yourself and nobody talk to. So a lot of people are there for that too, the camaraderie. when you're down, people lift you up, and you're doing well, people pat you on the back. You get that, feedback loop. And then also they use me as a coach to just review the trades. Hey, Anmol, I traded this today at this time. This was my entry. What do you think of this trade? And I can review and give them feedback on what they did right or what they did wrong. So there's a lot of learning that takes place in there too.
Wow, that's super dope because I was looking at this one girl, she usually trades live all the time, and she just hit probably like 30,000 in like 11 minutes with Google.
Mhm.
And it was just super dope how I actually saw her win it live. But
Yeah.
I think sometimes when people go into trading, when they see some people hit success like that, she's been doing it for 4 years now, and people don't understand. Like a lot of times that takes time. So
Mhm.
when they see that she hit, only thing on their mind is like, man, I want to hit just like that. And they think they're gonna hit like that week.
Mhm. Yeah.
Do you get a lot of people that have high expectations like that?
Yeah, we always get in the business. I call it's like a revolving door. New people come every year, they leave, and it's like a revolving door. Nowadays, we don't get a lot of those people because all of our communication is structured in a way that we usually attract people who've either been around the block, and then they come finally to us. They've tried all the other courses and programs, they didn't see the success, and then they usually come after having to try all of that. But yeah, we always get people that are like, hey, wow, I just saw you make $30,000 or $40,000, or man, you took this Tesla trade, I made like $300,000 on one trade. And they see that, and I'm like, but hey, wait a minute, it's not that. How much, you never asked me the important question, how much money did I put in to make that? Right? So
Right.
sure, let's say you saw somebody make 30,000, but how much did they put in to make that 30,000? Maybe they put in $500,000 worth of position to make 30,000, right? Well, that's very different than you put like 20,000 and make 30,000, right? So that's also really, really important. So people have to look at the percentages, especially when you're looking to follow somebody. Okay, how much money did they actually put in? What was their risk? What if this trade did not work? It went the other way. How much would they have lost? And a lot of people don't ask those questions because that's more important. Everybody looks at trades like, oh, wow, what if this works? I can make that too. What if it doesn't work? What was that person willing to lose at that point? Right? If let's say, the person was looking to lose 30, 40,000. Well, are you okay with that? If you're not okay with that, well, then you're not going to expect to make the same amount either. So I think those are some questions that people have to look into. And then also, more than that, is the person who you're listening to, can they show you the last 5 years of track record? Because sure, anybody can get lucky and make money one day, right? Broken clock is right twice a day. So anybody can get lucky on a trade. I could buy something right now, and it has a 50% chance. If we throw just darts on our wall and there's like different stock symbols, if I throw a dart, it goes on Apple, it's a 50-50 chance it could go up or go down. So anybody can be right any given time. So it's about, can you see the person's track record for the last 5 years, every single trade they've ever called, and how that would have done. I think that's what's missing in the industry, is a lot of people, even though they might trade live, but you can go back and take a look what they've done over the last 5-6 years.
Yeah, that is so true. So I want to take it back a little bit because you had started trading when you were 19 in college, right?
Yeah, 18. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you started back then, I also saw that you have never worked a job either. So
Right.
what actually got you so interested in trading while you were in college, and for you not to even want to get an actual job?
Yeah, so those two things. One of them was curiosity, the other one was necessity. So curiosity part was when I started reading on the markets and I started researching it, I just found myself being so curious because I was always like, okay, why does the stock go up? Why does it go down? Who decides that? Like, what causes it to go up and down? Like, I just wanted to, I got really curious about it. And, being a typical introvert, I had no problem locking myself in my room, in my dorm room for like, weeks on just like reading, researching, watching videos on the subject. So like, I really loved it. And then for after like a really long time, I found something that I was like, wow, I actually genuinely like doing something for a change. Before that, I was just a typical kid playing an Xbox, wasn't really interested in anything. So I found something that I really was passionate about. But then the other thing was necessity part. So it's not like I never wanted to get a job. I actually always wanted to get a job because
No.
I was like, I don't want the trouble of like, running everything and just, give me a fixed paycheck. That was my mindset when I was 18 years old. And
Yeah.
then I applied. I went to college in London in the UK, and there you had to apply to like jobs and internships in your second year of college. And I remember applying for all these different jobs, from the best companies all the way working my way down to the startup companies. And apart from like a few interviews, I didn't really get a call back, right? And I saw all my friends getting good jobs, and I was the only one who didn't get one. And then I was like, well, that would hit me. I was like, wow, I can't just sit here and rely on other people for my financial future. Like, I got to make something happen. And that's when I had the whole year where all my friends were doing their internships, and I was the only one in my dorm room with no job. But I took that year. I didn't go out. I didn't party. I just like hunkered in and like really just diving into trading, like reading as much as I could about it, talking to as many people as I could about it. And then I joined a prop firm, which is a company where there's hundreds of traders, and the company gives you their money to trade. And in exchange, they take a percentage of everything you make for them. So I started working with that company while I was still in my dorm room, and I kind of just worked my way up in the company slowly over time. And then, yeah, that was rest was history from there.
Wow. From you starting and actually just going trading and everything, what are some of the common mistakes that new traders and entrepreneurs make when they're trying to achieve financial freedom?
Yeah, I mean, where do I even begin? There's so many mistakes people make, but the most common ones are they don't really have a plan. They don't really have a system, right? Just like you wouldn't get into a business without a business plan, you can't be trading without a trading plan, right? So a
Right.
lot of people don't know, okay, when are you gonna get out? If you, let's say you're right on this stock that you just bought, what's your target? When are you gonna get out? People have no idea, right? They just make it on a whim. And then same way, the more important question is, what if this trade does not work? Where are you gonna get out? Nobody answers those questions. They just buy a crypto, they buy the stock, and it's just going down. I'm like, why did you not just sell it and take a quick loss and walk away? Oh, I thought it will come back up. I just bought more. Maybe it'll come back up. I'm like, well, hope is not a strategy. If you want to do this for a living, you can't just trade on hope, right? Maybe it'll come back, maybe it doesn't. And let's say it comes back, it takes 5 years for it to come back. Now you just wasted 5 years on your money in just one little stock. You could have just got into something else. So there's opportunity cost too. But the biggest thing is people don't have any concept of risk management and money management, right? You need to know before you get into any trade, how much are you going to lose if you're wrong? When are you going to get out if you're wrong? And also, when are you going to get out if you're right? A lot of people have good trades that, go up for them, but they never sell it. Just keep holding on. Well, the money's only made when you sell something, right? So you have to sell it to make the money. Otherwise, people ride it all the way up, but they never sell it. Greed, they thought it's going to go higher, and then it comes back down. So the two primary emotions that move the markets are fear and greed. And oftentimes people, when they have good trades, they get greedy. When they have bad trades, they get fearful, and then the fearfulness turns into hopefulness. Maybe it'll come back. I think those are some of the biggest mistakes people make.
Wow. So what was one of the mistakes you felt that you had made in the beginning?
I made them all, like my first year, I lost money my whole first year of trading. I didn't make any money my whole first year. It was a lot of the mistakes, same as what I was describing to you earlier. Like a stock would be going down. I should already be out of that. Maybe I should have lost like $100 on it, but then I just keep holding, and now it turns into $500 loss, $1,000 loss. And I'm like, oh, maybe it'll come back. Let me buy more. Let me lower my average price. Like all the things which are basically just gambling, right? And if you're going to gamble, you might as well go to a casino. At least you get free drinks. They give you a massage. They give you a free stay, compute the dinners. At least you have a good time losing money in a casino. There's no fun losing money in a computer. So I think that was kind of the mistakes that I made early on, is not having a plan, not having any system, and also trying to look for home runs, which a lot of people do. What's the next big coin I can buy that could go up? What's the next meme coin? Or should I buy GameStop? People are trying to get rich quick. They're trying to hit a one big hit wonder, but nobody makes that in the career long term. Right? You might get lucky one time, but eventually you're going to give it back, just like a casino. You could go to a casino, win a great blackjack, win a great round of blackjack. But if you just keep playing at the casino, eventually casino is going to get its fair share, and you're going to end up losing over time. And that's kind of how, some of the mistakes that I made early on is not treating it like a business, kind of treating it like a hobby, which you should not do with your real money.
Yeah, that is so true. So you were saying of how people trying to get rich quick and everything. So we have a few cryptos that everyone is talking about, which is XRP, um, and just a few other ones. So what do you think about how everyone is like blowing them up so big right now? Even Bitcoin as well, and there's so many others that I can name. But how do you feel about the market today, even with everything crashing and then it ended up rising a little bit? But it seemed like it's more crashing than anything.
No, I wouldn't really call it a crash. I think it's normal. It's a very healthy pullback, right? Because nothing can go up in a straight line, nothing can go down in a straight line. So markets always ebb and flow. So we saw a big run up since the election in November. All the cryptos went up. So it's natural. Some people are going to take their profits, right? Market's going to come down. But overall, I think cryptos are, everybody should have at least some crypto. Now, I'm not saying put all your money in crypto like a lot of crypto people would, tell you to do. I wouldn't tell you that's the wrong thing to do. Because you have to understand intentions. What are people's intentions? Well, the crypto market can only go up if other people buy it, right? So people who are talking, hey, buy this crypto, ask them, do you own some? They'll be, yeah, yes. So they're only basically talking their book, is what we call it in Wall Street. They're talking their book. They want other people to buy the crypto that they have because they want it to go up, right? But there's no other reason for that. So cryptocurrencies are like the early stages of internet. Right, in the .com 2000, if you recall, there was a lot of stocks that were just going up. Any stock that had a .com at the end in the year 2000 went up. There was a company called rock.com. It would just sell rocks, right? Their stock went up thousands of percentage points. But then what happened? The markets crashed, right? And then what happened? 90% of the companies disappeared, and then came the winners. Google, right? Amazon, Microsoft, Apple. Some winners emerged. So crypto is the same thing. You saw a few years ago, all the cryptos went up, Dogecoin, Sheepcoin, like random coins would just go up, right? And then they start to come down. And then eventually what's going to happen is 90% of them are going to go to zero. And then there's going to be a few winners that are going to emerge over the long run. Now, XRP, I've heard good things about it too, as a technology. But the problem with XRP, which is why I think it's not a great investment long term, it's a great trade, meaning it could go up and you can make some money on it. But it's not a great long-term investment because it's very centralized. It's kind of run like a company, right? So the company controls a lot of it. So it's not really decentralized. The other problem with that is if you go back and take a look when XRP was started, a lot of their beginning, not to get too technical, the ledger that's used in the blockchain was it's not available anymore. So I'm like, well, if somebody could just go in there manually change things, well, that's not really secure, right? That's not what people are going to use or trust or use long-term. And also, they have pretty much like an infinite supply. They can just create more coins, right? So there's no scarcity in there. So what you're buying, they could just create 1,000 more. They could create 1 million more, and there's no control. So that's the problem with that. I really like a cryptocurrency called Algorand. Now I do own it, right? It is one of my investments, but that is pretty much the only cryptocurrency that I own. And I was very anti-crypto until like 2019-ish. 2020 because of the same reason I talked about. .com bubble, everything would just shoot up and all the coins would just go up. But then after that crash, then I started really researching. I'm like, okay, wow, what can fulfill the promise of crypto? The promise of crypto was it's going to make everybody's life cheaper, faster. It's going to be decentralized, and people can actually use it to power the financial systems of the world, right? So Bitcoin can't really be used for that. It's slow, it's expensive, right? Bitcoin is now more considered like a store of value, kind of like gold, where you park your money, but it's never going to be used. People already decided that. It's slow, it's clunky, it's expensive. I send you something in Bitcoin, might take you 15 minutes to fully get it. I mean, I could just Zelle you in 2 seconds. I could PayPal you. Like, why would I need Bitcoin? So, that was one of the disadvantages of that. And then Ethereum is another one, but again, too expensive, can take 15, 20 minutes for you to get my crypto, can never be used, right? Too slow. And expensive, like really expensive. I mean, it's cheaper to wire somebody than send them Ethereum. So again, that can never be used. So Algorand I like because it's the cheapest crypto to send somebody's like 0.001, dollars, not even a penny. And then it's also fast. It's 2.8 seconds. I send you something right now, 2.8 seconds, done deal. And there's never been a single transaction on Algorand blockchain that's ever failed. None of them have ever failed. Zero failed transaction, where Solana, Ethereum, they all have failed transactions happening. So when I look at, okay, let's assume banks or big companies or real estates, which eventually are all going to be on blockchain technology, are they ever going to use something that transaction can just fail? Right? They're never actually going to use it. That's why you see only meme coins are being created on Solana and all these companies, but not actual real world stuff. So Algorand is one that people can look into, do your research. It's created by Silvio Micali. He's an MIT professor. He won the Turing Award. He was actually quoted in the Bitcoin white paper by Satoshi. He's the guy who actually invented a lot of this. He's called the father of cryptography. So he started his own crypto in 2019. So it came pretty late into the scene, whereas all the other cryptos have been around for 2015 onwards. So I think it's under the radar. People haven't really done their research on it. But they are currently actually being used in real world examples that I just talked about.
Oh, wow. That's cool. So, what are the biggest myths that people believe about trading and investing that hold them back?
There's a lot of different myths. I think that one of the biggest mistakes people make is like, I could just follow my way to success. I can just follow this guy or girl or look at the alert service and just follow them. But the problem is, majority everybody will tell you when to buy something. Very rarely online, especially like people read Reddit or they go on Twitter or X, and people tell them buy GameStop, oh buy Reddit. How
Yeah.
many times you probably heard it too? Everybody would tell you when to buy GameStop, GameStop. But guess what? Have you noticed nobody ever told you when to sell it? Right?
Yes.
Everybody will tell you online, buy this crypto, buy this thing. Nobody will ever tell you when to sell it. The stock is down 90% now, and people are still holding because somebody told them to buy on Reddit. So listening to like Reddit and X and random people that you don't even know their track record is the biggest mistake that people would make. So don't just listen to random people, not even people on CNBC. Majority of the hedge funds underperform the markets. You're better off just buying the stock market yourself and getting better returns than the market. So yeah, just don't trust anybody. I mean, if you're going to run it as a business, why do you want to take a chance? Why do you want
Yeah,
to trade on luck or hope? Trade on what's known to be getting you there in the long run.
that's true. Because it's so many other stocks that you can invest in that are doing very well, but you normally don't hear people commonly
Mhm.
speaking about it on social media or anything. It's just
Yeah.
like everyone just following the wave for real.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Reddit's a graveyard of hopes and dreams. Just look at people losing money every day. And a lot of people told him to join Reddit and buy GameStop, but nobody told him when to sell it. And majority of the people sold it, took their profits, and the average person gets left holding the bag.
I know it
Yeah.
sucks. So your book, um, prepping for success and outlines 10 keys of making it in life. Which one of them do you think it is most underrated?
Honestly, they're all really important and they all tie into the next key, right? So, like one of the biggest keys, however, I tell people is majority of the people are stuck in, especially these days with so much content and things available for us online, is like people get stuck in what I call the learning loop, which is they just keep learning. They never actually do anything. They read one book, they move on to another book. Then they finish that book, they go to the next audiobook. Then they go to the one podcast, then they go listen to another podcast. Then they join this person's course or that person's course. Then I'm going to attend this seminar. And they just get stuck in that loop. And I'm like, but you actually are not doing any of that, right? You're not applying all of those things you learned in your real life. You're just stuck in a hamster wheel chasing that, okay, if I take this next thing, next piece of information I get, it'll change my life. But information is not going to change your life, right? True knowledge is applied knowledge. Otherwise, you're just gathering information, and half that you're not even going to retain. So many people brag about, I've read 10 books this time. I'm like, really? But your life doesn't demonstrate that you've applied any of it, right? You're not actually using it. I'd rather you read one book 10 times and apply all of that than read 10 books and, claim you have all this information. But when I look at your life, I'm like, well, why aren't you getting better? Or why aren't you leveling up if you have all this information? So I think people need to get out of the learning loop because it's a dopamine hit. It's a false dopamine hit. And you've noticed that. I've noticed that too. You buy something online, it just gives you the quick feel. Ooh, I just signed up for this person's mastermind group, right? I'm going to crush it now. But
Right.
then nothing happens, right? Because you're not applying it. So I think that's where life really changes, is when we sit down. So for example, my book, every chapter ends with, here's the 3 things you need to do before you even move on to the next chapter. Because I don't want you to read this book and say, oh, I've read it. No. Let's read one chapter. So every time I personally read a book in my life, I'll read one chapter and I'll close the book and I'll sit down and, okay, how do I use this in my life? How do I apply this to my life? Maybe I'll write down 3 ways I can apply what I just learned. Once I've done that, then I move to the next chapter. So for me to finish a book, it might take a while, but by the end of it, like, I'm using a lot of those tips and making my life better than just moving on, next book, next podcast, next audiobook. And you're just chasing information. And if I quiz you on it, half of them you will not retain. So,
That is so true. Because a lot of people they're scatterbrained, and it's like a good thing and a bad thing because you see so many ideas and different things you have interest in. But I think some people need to just sit down and actually pay attention and tap into themselves
Mhm.
deeper within for them to actually figure out exactly what they want to do with their life instead of projecting themselves and seeing themselves in others. They need to actually see themselves for
Mhm.
real, like in real life time, because we can really get confused. And a lot of times it's really on a financial aspect. Sometimes people be like, oh, they made this much money doing this because that's all what they put out,
Mhm.
so we really never hear the actual struggles of what people have gone through to get and make it to that point. And we all have slow seasons, so we don't even know when their slow season is, and they may be using that as a pitch
Mhm.
for to get your attention for them to actually get their finances back on track. So
Right.
I absolutely get what you're saying when it comes to that, because it's a lot of that going on.
Yeah, and it's such a important thing. We noticed that even on our YouTube channel, like we have hours and hours and hours of lectures on trading. Like, I mean, people don't even need to buy my course. If they just go through all the lectures on our YouTube channel, they'll get the course. We got hundreds of hours of lectures on there. But when we put out a lecture, we maybe get 10,000 views, maybe you get 11,000, maybe some of the good ones might get 20, 30,000 views. And then I put up a video, day in the life of a millionaire trader, right? Showing kind of the lifestyle element that I recorded, showing my condo here, showing me trading, showing the day, showing the lifestyle, basically, not really teaching them anything, really, just showing them the lifestyle. And that video gets 2.5 million views. So I'm like, where is everybody's priorities? I
Yeah.
posted a video just showing my life, and that's 2.5 million views. And I just sat down and taught you for an hour-long trading lecture, where there's literally zero marketing. It's all hardcore. Let's dive in, and that gets 10,000 views. So people priorities are all over the place, and I think the people who are getting results are people who are watching those lectures or these learning videos rather than somebody's lifestyle. Because sure, you can watch my lifestyle, it might motivate you, it might inspire you, but then you got to act on that motivation and not just move on to the next video.
That is so true, Ma. Like, seriously. So you've worked with thousands of traders. What separates successful traders from those who are struggle?
Successful traders have a system. So we are trying to be the casino, not the player, right? If you go to a casino and you win $1 million today in the casino, let's assume, casino's not going to mind, it's not going to cry, it's going to give you the $1 million, and it's going to say, hey, a whole week is free on us. Stay one more week with free drinks, free dinner, everything. Just stay, keep playing, because they know the longer you keep playing, they're gonna win, because they know what the edge is. At the end of the day, this is what the edge is. It's only like a little less than 1%, but they know that the longer you keep playing, longer term, they're gonna make that percentage, right? So same thing with trading. Good traders, successful traders have a system. Like, I know pretty much exactly what I'm gonna make every month. Like, I know exactly what I'm going to lose if the trade doesn't work. I already know that beforehand, so there's no uncertainty, there's no fear, because I've already accepted the loss. Otherwise, I wouldn't have taken the trade, right? So, and a good way to do that is, let's say you buy a stock. So let's say you buy a stock at $20, okay?
Mhm.
And you say, I don't want to lose more than $1,000, right? I'm okay losing 1,000. I don't want to lose more than 1,000. So then we go to the chart and we say, okay, if the stock gets below $19, we have to get out because it's breaking an important area. So we should just get out. So now we know, okay, we bought it at 20. We're going to get out if it goes below 19. So we're risking $1 per share. So if I want to lose only $1,000, I buy 1,000 shares. So then you've already planned for it. If the trade doesn't work, you already know what you're going to lose. You're going to lose exactly that. There's no uncertainty. So good traders know that. And good traders also know when they're going to get out, and they know what the edge is. So, and you don't even need to win 90% of the time in this business. You could be right 35% of the time and still make money. How? Well, let's say every winner that you take is twice the size of your average loser. If you just do that, all right? So let's say all the losses are $1,000, all the winners are $2,000. That's it. So we don't even get out before it hits 2,000. We don't get out if it goes, less than $1,000. So then all the losers are 1,000, all the winners are 2,000. We only, even if we're right 40% of the time, we're gonna make money at the end of the month, because 40 times we make 2,000, we made 80,000, right? 60 times we lost 1,000 each, we lost 60,000. Net, we're gonna make 20,000. So now I only need to be right 40% of the time. So I could take 100 trades, I could lose on 60 of them. As long as just to get 40% of them right, I'm going to make money. That's when you know you're the casino now, because it's not even about any trade going up or down. We just know we just got to keep doing our strategy 2 to 1, and at the end of the month, this is what I'm going to make, and it takes off all the guesswork. So professional traders will have a plan. They're going to be very disciplined. They're not going to trade on emotion or gut feel, because if you're a new trader, you don't have gut feel, right? You don't.
Right.
What is gut feel? Gut feel is basically just our experience talking and telling us, giving our inner voice telling us, hey, look at this. You've seen this before. You've seen this movie play out before. You know how it goes. So that's when you get the gut feel, is your experience talking. But if you don't have any experience, then there's no gut feel. Then you're just talking out of your rear end. So I think that's kind of one of those things you have to look at. No emotion, no gut feel. Emotions have no place in trading. The more emotional you are, the harder you're gonna, it's gonna be super hard for you to make it in the business. So I'm like very robotic when it comes to my trading. There's no emotion involved. Now it doesn't help in relationships, but it helps in this business. So.
I understand that. So how do you structure your day from maximum productivity while managing multiple businesses? Because you do a lot.
Yeah. So the day, if you wake up and you think about, okay, what am I going to do today? You already lost. You already lost the battle. So I never wake up for success. I plan the night before. So my day is already planned the night before. So every night when I'm done with my work, I'll put on some headphones, I'll put on some nice music, I'll kind of wind down my day. And then in my journal, which I have, is called the Success Journal, which people can get on my website. In that journal, I write down at the end of the day, first I write down my reflection. What did I do great today? What could I have done better today, right? And then I write down, what are the 6 things I need to do tomorrow to make tomorrow a success? And I write those 6 things down beforehand. So when I wake up, I don't have to wonder, oh, gee, what am I going to do today? Maybe I should do this in my business. None of that. It's already planned out. And then here's the best part. If it takes me 9 p.m. to finish all those 6 things, then great. I'm going to be here working till 9 p.m. But a lot of days, you can knock those things down and you might be done at 11 a.m. And then I'm done at 11 a.m. Now I got a whole rest of the day to guilt-free spend however I want. And I will still feel good about myself because I've already accomplished my 6 tasks. And then it's a free time. It's for me, and I can enjoy it guilt-free because I already conquered the day. I already won the day. So that's my only goal, is to do those 6 things. I don't check my email. I don't take phone calls, reply to text message. I don't go to social media until I do those 6 things. And that ensures every day, not only I'm going to feel good about myself because I'm knocking those things down, but every single day I'm moving the needle forward in some area if you just focus on 6 things. So I call that the critical 6.
That's really dope, because you really have to discipline yourself and have to really want it, because a lot of times people find themselves really stuck and they're trying to basically take their actions and create it as a passion. Or if they have the passion in them already, they still need the structure to be able to keep pushing themselves forward. How did you end up figuring out to, be more structured and organized and actually take action on what you're doing? Because some people have that that stance when they do feel stuck and they're trying to find different ways. So how do you find your passion and versus taking your action?
Yeah, it starts, all of that starts with another success keys in my book, which I talk about, which is integrity, right? Which is being a person of integrity, meaning do what you said you're going to do, and then do it when you said you're going to do it, and do it not because you have to, or you don't feel like it, doing it because it's the right thing to do. So honoring your word. So pay attention to your words that come out of your mouth and make sure you really mean it. And when you've said it, make sure you really, really do it. So for me, I've noticed that if I just say things, okay, I want to do this, I would never just say it, but if there's no structure, I just say, I want to do this. One day I would love to do this. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen, right? We all say that. You, like me, already know people in our lives that, let's say in 2020, before the whole COVID thing happened, they said, you know what, I want to start my business. I want to start this side gig. I just don't have the time. And then we were locked up. We had all the time in the world, and they still didn't do it, right? They still didn't do it. So you just said something, but you don't really mean it. So one of the important things for me was things that get scheduled, get done. If you never scheduled it, it's not going to happen. And there's going to be other areas of your life that are going to find ways to take that time away. So when I was talking about those 6 things, once I've written those 6 things down, the next step is you open up your calendar and you assign time slots to each of those things. So, for example, one of your tasks could be, you know what, I want to look at my marketing for this podcast and maybe see, which other podcasts I could collaborate with. Or maybe I have to reach out to, I don't know, 10 different people tomorrow who I can collaborate, who can help me promote my podcast. So then if you just say it, it's not going to happen. But if you go in your calendar and say, okay, 1 to 1:30, I'm going to send those emails, reach out to these podcasts, see if they want to collaborate. 2 to 2:30, I'm going to audit my marketing, right? Now you've scheduled it. And then you take the guesswork out, because when you wake up, you're just going calendar by calendar to your meetings, right? So people need to audit their time, because everybody has time. Everybody has 24 hours. If you feel like you don't have enough time, look at Elon Musk. Guys running SpaceX, guys running X, guys running Tesla, now the government. I mean, he only also has 24 hours, right? Yeah. But he's able to schedule things, he's able to delegate things, he's able to do all of those things, which we also need to do. So how can you audit your time and break it into like 30-minute chunks and write down, what are you doing day to day? You have 24 hours. Let's remove 8 hours for sleep, right? Let's remove, an hour or two for eating or whatever other stuff that you want to do. Then maybe you left with, even if you're left with 8 hours. Okay, make sure every 15 minutes, what are you doing? If there's nothing filling your calendar, it's just empty slots in your calendar. If I take a look, you just wasted that day. If I have empty spots on my calendar, I feel like I'm failing myself sometimes. So I try to fill it up with anything, but it's got to be filled up. Otherwise, I'm not using my time productively.
Yes, and that is so true. And it's so crazy because my friends, like some people, they be wanting to do certain things, but I schedule my days on when I do things with them. And I make sure I apply it to myself so that I'm able to get things done for me, because a lot of times we don't really take time out for ourselves. And I find people sometimes doing more for others than themselves. So I started doing for me a lot more, and I've noticed a lot of changes within myself for me to continue to move forward and leave some sort of legacy, for my family, nieces, nephews, and stuff. But it's like, if we don't apply ourselves and actually take action to it, we're going to still find ourselves in a position. And sometimes when people still find themselves in a position and then they see their friends elevating and things of that nature, they start to play the blame game, when in reality, you have to look at yourself and be like, okay, I am the only one that can make this change. I really need to take these steps and handle it.
Yeah. I mean, what you just said is so good. It's super interesting, but at the same time, it could go very deep, because I hear this a lot from some of my coaching students too. Like this girl I'm working with right now, and she's talking about her money beliefs and all of that, and then some tasks that she was supposed to do and she didn't do them on time, and then she was like, like, I want to do this, I want to speak on more stages, I want to do all of that, and I gave her all of the things to be able to do that, right? And here's what you got to do. Here's people I want you to reach out to, right? If you want to get booked on stages, or you want to get booked on these different things, here's the things you got to do. And then she didn't do it, and then she said, I was helping out my mother, she needed help with this or that, or then I was helping my brother out. So I'm just like, I really love people, I want to help my family. And at surface level, for most people, most coaches would say, yeah, that's fine, that's a good thing to do, you should help people, right? You're sacrificing, you're a very nice person. But I've learned to see past people, right? And I can just see that people, humans, we all use it as an avoidance strategy to do what we actually need to do. So we can say that we're helping people, and it gives our mind an excuse that it's not me, I'm not the bad guy here, I'm not doing anything wrong, I'm helping people, so I have to help them. So we kind of put the onus on them. Now you're blaming them, basically. Now you're blaming them because I helped them, I couldn't do my thing. It's an avoidance strategy. We do that so we don't feel bad about missing our goals, and our unconscious mind can convince us that it's okay, you were helping people, so you don't have to worry about it. But it's an avoidance strategy. You're not going to move forward. You have to put on your own oxygen mask before you can assist others.
So if someone is feeling stuck in life or business, what is the first mindset shift they need to make?
First, you need to notice, where in your life do you have a lack of integrity, where you said you're going to do something and you didn't do it, right? That's the number one step. So I'll tell you an example from my own life, right? This was about, I think, 3 years ago. I made the most money I ever made, had an amazing year, and all I was doing was traveling all over the world, partying, and doing all the things as a child I didn't get to do, right? And to enjoy my life. So I was trying to do that. And in the process, I kind of messed up my health. I wasn't eating right. I was out all the time. I was just very unhealthy. Was gained a lot of weight. And I found myself saying, you know what, I'm going to start working out from Monday. Right. And then it's the 28th of the month. So you're like, oh, I'll just start from the 1st. And then comes the 1st, but it's November 1st. I'll just start from January 1st. Right. So we negotiate with ourselves, but all we're really doing is we move the buck forward on our own goals. We're just delaying our own goals. And that's when it dawned on me, wow, you have a lack of integrity. You said you're going to do this on Monday. Monday came and gone. You didn't do it. You said you're going to do it on the 1st. It came and gone. You didn't do it. So where does my life go if I keep going down this line? And then I noticed that there was a lack of integrity. And oftentimes you tell people, oh, I'm sorry, I won't do it again. No, you are going to repeat it again. Humans are the same. We're going to do this thing again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
So only way you can fix that is to not apologize for it. Don't say, oh, I'm not going to do this again, or I'm going to fix it on Monday. Put things in place to ensure that doesn't happen again. So one of the things that I did, I was like, man, I hate working out. Even now, I don't love working out. But I was like, but I know I have to. Right. So then what do I do to make sure I do that? Well, I hired a trainer. He comes at my house. Right. We got a gym over here. He'll come at the same time, same day, every single week. Now he's here. So I have to work out. Like, he shows up to my place. I can't be like, I don't want to work out. Now he's here. So I forced that on me because I know if I'm left to my own devices, I'm not going to do it. So it's not about beating yourself up over it or trying to learn some motivation course that can get you to do it. Sometimes it's just about put things in place to ensure you get that thing done, whether you like it or not. So I think that those are some of the things people need to audit. Where have you said you're going to do something that you didn't do? And now what can you put in place to ensure that that gets done? Ask your friends and family, hey, is there something that you've heard me say all over and over that I haven't taken action on? They will tell you, right? And notice that in your own life too. Like, a lot of people tell me, but I'm a person of integrity, Anmol. I say what I want to do. I do what I said I was going to do. I'm like, really? When's the last time somebody called you and you said, hey, I'm just in the middle of something. Let me text you back. Let me call you back. And you never did, right? Or you ran into an old friend at an airport or a shopping mall. You're like, hey, so good to see you. We should totally catch up soon. And then you make no attempts to ever catch up with them. So you just said something that you don't really mean. Why? Try to be polite, try to look good in front of other people. All of that is not going to move the needle, right? So it's all about, like, say what you mean. And then when you said it, make sure you do it, because now you just put it out in the universe. And if you don't act on it, it's going to go into your unconscious mind. They're going to beat yourself up over it. You're going to feel guilty. You're going to feel bad. And that's going to be a perpetual cycle of leading to low self-confidence, low self-esteem. Then you beat yourself. Oh, why don't I not do that? Like, if you don't follow through on your own words, if you don't believe in your own words, how do you expect the universe to believe in you?
Yeah, that is true. So are you still an introvert?
I very much, like, I love when people, like, invite me for plans and they cancel. That nothing feels better. So I'm the kind of introvert, like, I always want to be invited, but I don't want to go.
Oh my God, I am the same way. See, you just made me feel better, because it's like, I'll be like, oh my God. I'm like, oh, please let them cancel. Please let them cancel. Or like, please let it snow or something.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm
I'm
the
just
same
like,
way.
any excuse, okay?
Yeah. And yeah, you don't have to feel bad about it. I mean, I did too. I was like, should I be going out? I think I need to be doing more things. But then once you get to the level where, you just do what you feel like doing and you start acting on everything you said you're going to do, you're going to develop the confidence that the outside world, none of that matters.
Oh my God. So with you being an introvert and you at the status of where you at now, how do you get out of that? Like, just meeting people and creating like such a big platform and things that you have going on, because I I feel like I am stuck.
Mhm.
I have a big platform on certain platforms, but not all,
Mhm.
but it's like the introvert part of me is just, I don't really people with people. So it holds me back a lot.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's why both of us are in the online space, because it's
I
like,
know.
it's much easier to do this than, beat out in a group. But that's okay, because introverts have a gift, right? We are introspective also. It's not just introversion, it's also introspective. Like you probably feel this way too. Like when you see somebody talking, you can kind of already see through all of that. Like you kind of see their intentions already, or so we have that where extroverts fully haven't developed that. They take everything on face value, but we can kind of get a feel of what a person is. Do they want to be associated with them or not? And I think there's a gift in that. So the way I use these gifts is when I'm coaching traders, it helps me because I can just time out, you're avoiding something right now, right? Like I'm able to see through that part. So there's a gift in that, which you just need lean into, more.
Man, that gift, I was so mad at that gift for so freaking long because it's like I don't want to be this way, but it's like I feel people's energy. I already know where the conversation is going to turn into.
Yeah.
It's like I know the beginning, middle, and end of something, so it creates me to be distant and hard for me to actually really get close to them. I have a thing from getting close to people. Once I'm there, I'm there,
Right.
but if I sense a disappointment or feel a shift in your spirit or something, it's
Mm.
like I'm like, oh God, here we go. Here we go again.
Yeah. I'll tell you that's somewhere you are judging the scenario before it takes place,
I
right?
know.
And somewhere we're judging ourselves in that because we're playing it already. Like anytime, even if somebody invites you and you're thinking of going somewhere, you played it out how it's going to go before you even go there. You played it out in your mind, and oftentimes we think that people are judging us, or they might be judging us, but they haven't even said anything. So who's the one really judging? So we're judging them that they're going to be judging us. So we're the ones judging. So judgment is what causes a lot of those things. Once you get rid of the judgment and you just take life at it as it is, then you don't need to feel bad about any of that. In fact, you just lean into the strengths because, yeah, people get predictable because we can kind of see how the conversation is going to already go. And that's a
Yeah.
really good, asset actually in life and business to have.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
So, what's the most valuable lesson you've learned about trust and partnership in business?
If you're going to partner with somebody in business, don't partner with them just because they're your friend or family, right? And don't partner with them just because you like them as a person, because liking somebody as a person versus liking them as a business partner are completely two separate things. And you also shouldn't be like, well, we're very like-minded. We're both really good at this. It's going to be a great partnership. You want to find somebody who's good at something that you're not good at. Then that's the best partnership. Because if you both are really good at marketing, well, who's going to do all the other stuff, right?
Right.
There's no benefit. In fact, then you're going to butt heads because he's going to have a marketing idea and you're going to have a marketing idea too. It's not going to go anywhere. So you got to find in partnerships people who are good at something that you are horrible at, right? And that creates the best partnership, not only because both things get done, but now he respects, or he or she, your partner respects you, right? Because why? You can do something they can't, and then you're going to respect them because they can do something that you can't. And that's the best partnership to have in at least in business settings. And that's how trust is created, is by,
Yeah.
if they pull up their weight, they do their department perfectly, you do your department perfectly. That's how trust is created. But also having open communication, like
Yeah.
not just keeping it business forward, like try to get to know them outside of that and take some interest in that, right? Like when I do calls with my team, we always start the call with, what are you grateful for? And everybody shares about their life, and we end the call either with a prayer or we end it with some other thing. So it's not just focused on work, but then that's how they build the trust, when you can vulnerably share your stuff, right? When I shared with my team 3 years ago, I was like, man, like the business thing, money making, like I got that down, but man, my health is a complete mess. And they would hear me say, oh, I'm going to do this. And I never did. I was like, hey guys, I realized the last 3 or 4 calls I said I'm going to start working out and doing this. I didn't. I just want to admit it and come clean. And then that's how you build trust. And then they can open up too and say, you know what, I was supposed to do this too, or I didn't. Now you have a trustworthy thing that you're working towards, rather than thinking of them as your workers or your employees or any of that.
Yeah. That's so healthy, though. It
Mm.
is. So, what's your take on mentorship and networking? How do you find the right people to connect with?
Mentorship is absolute paramount. Without that, I would not be here, right? Because I didn't really grow up with somebody teaching me. Like, my father wasn't really around that much. So I didn't really grow up with somebody giving me all the tools. And I always felt like something was missing. Like somebody didn't teach me something. You know, I kind of grew up with that mindset. Like I missed something. You know, I didn't get the memo. I didn't know. You know, people didn't teach me this or that. So I was self-taught in a lot of different things, right? I would be very early on, 18 to 19 years old. I remember like reading psychology books and mindset books, trying to figure life out, and then, you know, taking courses online, hiring mentors, coaches. Even when I made money, I would donate to these billionaires and all these charities that they used to have, donate to their charities just so I can have lunch with them, just so I can have dinner. I always stretch myself and put myself in the situation. And a turning point for me was maybe in 2014. So I was already making money that time, but nothing close to now. And it was the first time I networked with this guy, successful multimillionaire, and he invited me. And I was like, okay, I'll meet you in Florida. You know, I'll be there like tomorrow. He's like, no, just go to Jersey. My jet's over there. Take that jet. I'm like, oh, okay. I've never even been to that airport. I went to New Jersey, went to the airport. There's like, you just put your own bags, you know, you put it in the plane, you just get on and you go. There's nothing else going on. And you land, take your bags out, and you're just off. Amazing experience. Then we went to his penthouse, and I was like, wow, there's a whole different world that I didn't even think was available, or
Wow.
or it was meant to be. It opened my eyes when you know, you go to their penthouse, these billionaires, even their hand towels are with their logos, you know, even the toilet papers with their own logo everywhere. I'm like, damn, this is a whole different world. You know, like millionaires, sure, but this is a different level, and that stretches you. So some people might look at that and get uncomfortable, right? Or feel bad. Oh my God, I'm not there yet. I looked at it, I was like, my eyes just opened up. I was like, this is a whole different world. So I
Yes.
looked at it with motivation and inspiration and kind of stretch myself and just asking all those questions. And, you know, I think that was the biggest thing. And having a group of people is really important, right? In any endeavor of life, it talks about it in the Bible, right? Having a council of men. And a lot of people, they say, all the personal development people online, they say, Think and Grow Rich, read the book, right? Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. Then I
Yeah.
asked them, in the book, there's a chapter where he talks about having a board of advisors. So all of you said you read the book. Who's in your board of advisors? They're like, oh, we don't have that. So I'm like, so you just read a book for information. You didn't do anything. The book talks about having a board of advisors, a council of men. Now, men doesn't mean just men, you know, like people. So have that in your group. And a lot of people don't have that. I have people. I know I'm not the best at health. There's somebody in my circle, anything to do with health, I'm going to reach out to him. I have a lawyer. Anything goes down, I'm going to reach out to him. I have an accountant, right? Going to reach out to him, any of that stuff. I have my own coaches, right, for mindset and stuff, you know, that I can talk through with or talk about my life with or things that I'm going through. So I have coaches, or I have a trainer, you know, I have my yoga teacher, whatever. I have all these areas I call my board of advisors. And then if I have any problem in life or something to do with my business, I know exactly who to reach out to, and they're going to be receptive. There's mastermind groups that I'm a part of, right? I have my own mastermind group that a lot of people are part of as well. So you need that. You need that to somebody, to keep it real with you, 100, to hold you accountable, to be able to share your wins so you can feel good about what you're achieving, to have your breakdowns. Hey, I'm struggling with this right now, or I'm really not able to move the needle, let's say in my podcast, you know, or whatever that might be. Well, if I don't know the answer, I can connect you with somebody who knows the answer, right? Or B, we apply and take action on these steps. So having that, a mastermind group, board advisors, your trustworthy group, that they know everything about you, not the surface level. You just paid for somebody's mastermind group and you're just listening to their call. Majority of the mastermind groups these days are just somebody giving you a video training. It's a group coaching. They call it a mastermind. That's not what a mastermind is. Mastermind is where they know every little detail about your life. Like people share with me their complete darkest things to what they're struggling with.
Yeah.
Because I'm also sharing that with them, what I'm struggling with, so they feel comfortable in doing that. And there's an element of confidentiality that nothing leaves this mastermind group. It's not doing it for marketing that I'm going to put out the recording somewhere. It's like we share stuff in there, like, and we move forward. There's people running online businesses to people raising millions of dollars for their own companies. There's all sorts of people in my mastermind group, and we're all leveling up and achieving our goals.
Yes. You know, one thing I've learned over the years is from me being in business for like 17 years, I have embraced failing to a point. I realized that God have me fail for a reason, and I need to pay attention to that experience and let myself grow from it. and also being uncomfortable. Being uncomfortable, it may sound weird, but it kind of excites me because I know God is directing me somewhere I need to be as far as leveling myself up. And daily, I embrace myself of learning new things, meeting new people,
Mm,
and meeting my goals. You know, you can never learn enough, and you could always learn a lot. And so it's like to a point, God has been directing me, even through my podcast, of meeting the right people that I've been praying to meet.
mm.
And I end up being like friends with them, talk to them all the time. We help each other. Just everything you say you was doing with your mastermind. And it puts you in a better space in life, and it creates you to gain so much more wisdom, not even just within yourself, but more wisdom with God, because He gives you a clearer vision with a lot of things, and it calms my spirit as well, because it's like I know He got me and I wouldn't have nothing else to worry about. So it's like, you just press the gas and you go, really.
Yeah. I mean, in fact, I mean, great point. That's actually the last chapter of my book. It's called The Silver Lining. How
Really?
everything happens. Yeah, everything happens for a reason. You can't, but the thing is, you can't see the reason in the moment. You can only connect the dots looking back. Looking
Uh-huh.
back, reflecting on life, you could say, oh, yeah, that happened. But if that never happened, I wouldn't have learned this. And now you can see that. But in the moment, you're not going to be able to see it because that's happening. It's in the moment, right? So you can only connect the dots looking back, but everything is happening for a reason. You just can't see the reason right now. But in time, it'll all be clear on what the reason is. And and as they say, it'll all be okay in the end. If it's not
Yeah.
okay right now, it's not the end.
Yeah, because like say for instance I'm going through a storm, right? So if I'm like going through something at the moment, sometimes like probably back when I was like younger in my 20s, I was going freaking crazy. And I wasn't having no understanding until actually I realized that me overthinking and adding more to the storm of what's happening made it even worse.
Mm,
And now I understand the fact of me going through a storm and me staying calm and
mm,
just let God do his thing, but yet let me pay attention to what's going on and how to shift myself in the direction to where he wants me to go, because he gives you different signs on what to do, where to go, how to think, and you just have to really tap into it. But it takes a lot of discipline and a lot of faith, and also even manifestation. Like, you can manifest things in so many ways, but it's like the power of the tongue on how you say things. Are you saying it in past tense or present tense or future tense?
mm.
So I've been learning that too, and I've noticed how things just continue to come to me once I say things the correct way, instead of in a way where it will sabotage me and place me into a standstill. And I think a lot of people should really take time out to learn that. But a lot of times you have to isolate yourself for
Mm.
you to grow from the outside world, and just leave that there and just bring yourself in more if you want to achieve something and take action for it.
Yeah, I mean, great point. Because as they say in the Bible, right? In the beginning, there was a word. So then
Yes.
going back to the integrity piece is that's the same thing. Words are vibrations. In quantum physics, they've proven that words create vibrations. That's why these monks and all these people, they do om, because it's like vibrations are being created. So when we say something out loud from our mouth, we just put that out in existence into the universe as a vibration. And now if we don't do what we said we're going to do, it's going to come right back. That's karma. It's going to come right back
Yeah.
and bite you. So that's why words create, right? It's creation. That's how it started. So when you say something, you got to make sure you do it. That's how I think about it spiritually, is like, otherwise don't say it at all, right? And then even better, step one of manifesting is like, so right now you want to achieve something. It's an idea in your head, right? So, and it's going to stay there if you don't take action on it. So the
Mhm.
first step to manifesting something is you write it down. Well, what did we do when we write it down? That's level one of manifestation. We just took an idea that was just an idea in the ether, in the head, and now we have a physical manifestation of that on a piece of paper. That's step one. That's already better than most people who never write it down. So step one is write it down. Now you bring it into physical world. Now we can take a look and say, okay, what do I need to do today, right now, just one step closer to that goal, and we break it down into smaller chunking goals. Then once we've broken that down, guess what? We allocate those things to our calendar. We write those 6 things down the night before, put it in the calendar, and guess what? You're gonna manifest like you're not gonna believe where you're gonna be 5 years from now. I was born in India. Okay, I was born in India, and I'm here in New York City by the financial tower. I can look over Statue of Liberty on this window. I got the World Trade Center in that window. I got the Ground Zero right over there. The Wall Street Bull is right around here. And this was my vision board in college. Above
Wow.
my Xbox and stuff, back then I used to have this vision board, and I had, New York City skyline, this view, this condo, and I'm literally in that view, like right now, living that. But that's the manifestation part. Is first you bring it from your idea to the physical paper, somewhere you can see it. Then we 6 things every single day. Just 6 things, not 7, not 9, just 6. Do that, over and over and over and over again, and guess 3-6 years from now, you're gonna surprise yourself.
Yes, you will. And you have to really have faith too, because sometimes people will lose it when they're in their down moments, but you got to keep striving and keep going. It's like so important. And also you have to understand people are going to come and go in your life as well, and not take a lot of things personal, and not operate off your emotional intelligence so much. You have to learn how to balance it as well.
Absolutely. And the most faithful thing you can do is act on the ideas God has given you. That's
Yeah.
the most faithful thing you can do. Because, one more point I'll make is like, you probably know people, or maybe even ourselves, right? Like we see somebody launch a new idea or a new business, and you're like, I had that idea too. I had that same idea, right? So it's not that that person's special or you were special, that ideas. God has given these ideas to everybody. The
Yeah.
downloads are happening to everybody. Some people just grab on it, they act on it, and boom, that's what creates the destiny, right? But everybody's getting the exact same downloads. We all get the same business ideas, just some people grab on it and some don't.
Yes.
So that's where faith really comes in, knowing that, God is preparing you right now for what's to come. That's why things are challenging. Like if you play a video game, you go to the next level of the video game, it gets tougher, doesn't it? That's what
Yeah.
life really is. It gets tougher, but that shows you're leveling up.
Yes, definitely. So if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
That don't just listen to this podcast and then move on to the next episode or the next podcast, or let me watch this YouTube video, or let me look at these bookmarks I have open. We talked about a lot on this podcast, so let's sit down and really apply it, what we talked about in the beginning. Listen to this podcast again and then say, okay, how do I apply this to my life? Where in my life do I have a loss of integrity, where I said I'm going to do something then I didn't? What can I do to put things in place? Can I write down 6 things the night before? Can I start taking action on that? Can I start implementing that? Which book have I read last? And let's see if I remember any of it. If I open random pages, you probably don't. So let's read one chapter at a time. So start applying all these techniques and always looking at it from the lens of silver lining. Whatever is happening, as they say, not to you, for you. But then always try to, it's train your mind to look for why whatever is happening, what good can come off it. It's a tough question to answer. Sometimes you
Yes.
can't think of anything, but just train yourself. Like just imagine if there was any good in anything, what good might have come from it. And then so we had this in our coaching session the other day. One woman said, but Anmol, I had this death in my family. How can I look at the good side of things? What good came off this? I'm like, okay, you're talking about your, parents or whatever, but when they passed away when you were younger, what did that train you to do? Right? How did that show up in your life? And then she talked about how, I had to take care of myself. I became this independent woman. I became this. I'm like, yeah. And you're running like $1 million business right now. Do you think you would have done that if you had a comfortable life? Probably not. So if we look for the reasons, we'll find it, right? If you look for God, you're going to find it. Look for reasons, you're going to find it. If you look for reasons not to find it, you're not going to find it. You're going to prove yourself right regardless.
Yeah. And that's so true. Like even with you using that example, it resonated to me because 5 years ago I lost my mom, and a year later I lost my husband.
Mm,
But as during that time just started podcasting. Me and my mom was supposed to start this together. But
mm,
it's like, why stop now? Like you
yeah,
have to keep going. And I feel like I developed a lot more wisdom with me even keep going, and a lot of strength. And my mindset has shifted into me becoming a better version of myself as well. I didn't let it define me too much to a
Mm.
point it'll take me backwards. So I wanted to, press forward and give myself more purpose from it, and create a better life and learn from the ways that they have passed away to create my health and everything else a lot better too. So I just really shifted into, a positive mindset for myself. It hurts, but at the same time, I have to do things for me so
Mm.
that I could stay accord or I end up with them.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure it gave you a sense of like, okay, I got to do this now. Right. Like that urgency that maybe in the past we'd be like, we have all the time in the world, I'll
Yes,
do
it
it next
changes
year.
you a lot.
Yeah.
It changes you because my mom was only retired for a year from
Mm.
her job, and she worked hard for 30 some years. And then you really didn't get to enjoy your retirement or the
Mm.
wealth that you have built for yourself. And it's just like different things that come with it. And so it created me to enjoy life more, or not waste time in life, and achieve things that I want to achieve, and so much more. And it's very important. It
Mm.
is.
Yeah.
Yes. So could you tell everyone how to contact you and how can they connect with you?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to give all the listeners a free copy of my book. They could just go to go.unmol.net. So just the word go dot my name unmol.net, and then they could just grab a free book. Just put the shipping address, whatever shipping is, you just cover that, and then we'll send it to you. And that's a great place to start because that'll not only give you those 10 keys that I talked about, but you can also get a sense of kind of how I think and how I feel about things. And if that resonates with you, then we could definitely talk more if you want to work with me or be part of the mastermind group. Most active, I would say X and Instagram, I would say I'm the most active on. And my username on both of those channels is the same. It's Delta, DELTA, and the word spelled out, which is 90, NINETY. So not the number, but spelled out. So it's Delta 90. Don't ask me why. I had it a long, long time ago, never changed it. And now I've just shared it everywhere. So I'm like, there's no point in changing it now because all the podcasts and stuff have that in there. But yeah, Delta 90 on Instagram and X, and then my website, unmol.net.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for being on my podcast show. I really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. It was great chatting with you.
Great chatting with you too. Thank you everyone for tuning in to Life Heard Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and listen to Life Heard Podcast on all major audio platforms.
Welcome to Life Her Podcast, the podcast that guides you from the 9-to-5 grind to the freedom of your own path. Discover how to conquer life's challenges while pursuing your passions with unwavering faith. Because being an entrepreneur is not easy. So let's get to it.